started right out of high school and did a couple of different companies that we worked with. There was some transitions, and last 15 years has been Pioneer. And then along with that, we're doing precision planning. That is all the different enhancements that we can put on and work on planters. So anyway, this is our shop, which is, it's a shop and seed warehouse now, and we just added on another building to our north here that is going to be strictly seed, and this will be all shop along with all our parts and everything. And this new session here that we're doing is going to be all offices. Right now I'm the only one with an office. Tobin is in the lunchroom and Austin is just in the workroom. So we're just kind of upgrading to that. Nice. So everybody has their own spot. So
it's grown and changed a lot over the last. Yeah, we got some babies upstairs too.
Yes, I found your people.
The black one just fell asleep on the steps and she rolled down. So.
No. The babies are not you touch it.
So
yeah, careful.
Jeff, maybe could you just tell the group, they may not realize what's in those big black plastic buckets.
So years ago, seed always came in small little bags. You'll see the little Pioneer bags over here, the blue ones, and they're 45 to 50 pound bags. So farmer had to grab it and throw in each row to plant. Now, because a lot of farmers are growing a lot more, they get it in their seed in a box, and so they don't have to deal with the little bags. And then, so there's 50 units, 50 bags in one box, and it's so much easier to handle. You can get a lot more done, and it's a lot easier on us that we don't have to keep handling all those bags. So all these conveyors that are set up here, this is a seed treating for our soybeans. We dump the seed in the green one there. It goes up, it goes through it's almost like a cement mixer type thing, but it's a rotary mixer that, and then there's a seed wheel in there that sprays the treatment on. And then as it's coming out, it comes up the next conveyor into the black one, dries there, and then comes out of here, and then we put it back in the black boxes again. So.
And why do you do that? What do you?
Well, seed treatment is you can put various stuff on it. It's fungicide, insecticide, inoculant. All those different things are. It prevents diseases and a lot of different. You can put different levels on.
Is the
So
treatment that's on the beans.
When we put on the full amount, it actually takes care of and not 100% prevents, but helps with white mold, sudden death syndrome that happens in soybean seed. So it just makes it a healthier plant, and it also helps with aphids. And sometimes we don't have to spray insecticide for aphids later on, as long as the seed is treated. So
I'm going to set you up to talk a little bit about the planting process.
Okay.
Because you guys do that, but you also put equipment on other people's planters to do that. And I'm going to set this up with a story from 13 years ago, 14 years ago now. My husband had a major stroke.
Yep.
And at that time I was teaching with his wife at the little Lutheran school, and I took a leave of absence to plant the crop that year because John was not recovered enough to be able to do that. That was the year I found out that God was really real, in a really real way. But technology was just starting to come to farms with auto steer, where the tractor would, you know, connect to the satellite and you could line it up and it would drive itself. And my son was just back in the area, starting to get into our farming operation, and he put auto steer on the tractor for me that year. And I can tell you, I would not have got the crop in the ground without that. It was pretty wiggly the way it was, and I still needed to use the markers on the end rows and all of that, and there wasn't automatic shutoffs and all the technology that you guys are gonna tell us about. That enabled someone who had spent very little time in a planter tractor to put in 500 acres of corn and 400 acres of soybeans. It never would have happened without that piece of technology. Well, since that time, technology has advanced like crazy, and these guys are right in the middle of not only using the technology themselves, but helping put it on the machines so that other people can take advantage of it. I know that there's farmers up in North Dakota that they're 70 years old and they're thinking, I still got 3 or 4 more years of farming in me, because put the technology on and it makes it so much easier, so much more cost effective, so much less stressful, because the machine can do what it can do and you can spend your time doing what you need to do.
Yeah, and with AutoSteer, that was probably one of the first technology things that I put on our equipment, and that was just a tillage thing, because I wanted to not make any more passes across the field, and it's dusting, you can't see where you're going sometimes, and so AutoSteer to me is just a great tool for that. And then of course that made sense to put it on the planting tractor as well, because I didn't have to put those markers down, they just stay up and you go back and forth. And then as we added all the technology on the planters, and there's so many, I don't know, Tobin, how many different items that we can put on. When I first started, it was the monitor. It's a 2020 monitor. You got one to show maybe just, well anyway, I was looking for something because I thought I couldn't tell what was going on back there. It told me the population, that's all. And it was never good enough for what I thought it was gonna do. So when this first came out, it sparked such an interest, and I worked on planters all the time before that. So I called up and I said, can I be a dealer? Because I want to learn more about this. That was just one thing that was an attachment to the planter that made it work well. And you could see how much adjustments that you needed to do on that planter just by looking at that monitor. Well, I got signed up as a dealer, and then there was one product after the next, I think it's 36 different products of things that we can put on planters now to enhance the way the seed is going into the ground, the way it's being delivered, the way it's being metered, and then our closing system, the fertilizer system, it all can turn on and turn off exactly when it needs to. We don't overplant, we don't underplant, we don't over-fertilize, and we put the fertilizer where it needs to have, so we don't spend any extra money, and it's great for the environment as well. So,
I guess we should probably just walk over there if you want to see this.
okay.
Just come around this way or whatever. So like you said, we work on planters, is kind of our main thing around here. For a few years, I was a precision ag specialist for a Case IH dealership down in Alden. Then once we got to the size of the dealership that we wanted to be, then I could come here full time. But so we all have, he's got 15 years of experience with this. I've got 10. Austin's got probably around 10. What you see here, all these little trinkets and products, this is what we specialize in, doing different controls of fertilizer like you talked about. Like those are our monitors over there. Everything's touchscreen, everything's automatic. You just set it, tell it what you want it, and it's got sensors from top to bottom to tell you what's happening when you can't see it. Like he said, when it gets dirty and dust is flying, you can't really see much going on back there, but the display tells you with all the sensors that we add to this exactly what's happening, and by the touch of a button I can make a change, whether it's less pressure on the ground or more pressure on the closing mechanism that you have. So we're very passionate about building. That's what we do here. That's what this big shop is for. We bring big planters in here of all different sizes, and we work on anything from, we've had 4-row planters in here all the way up to 36-row planters. And there's
And
even
how wide is a 36-row planter, just for information?
36-row planter would be like 90 feet, or if it's narrow row, it'd be 60 feet wide. So it's one of those row units per, so 36 of those on one bar that folds up. So they get to be pretty big and a lot of work. But
And if we hung every available option on one row, is it, what is it, $8,000, $9,000?
no, it's more like 14.
$14,000 per
If
row.
you really get carried away, you can get to 14 grand.
So I've got a question, because this is all about precision planting, about getting the seed in the ground in an optimal kind of way, and being able to tell that that is happening from the cab. Connect that with the data needs and how you collect information then that helps you and other farmers analyze what they've just done and what they need to do.
Right. So like he said, a lot has changed with technology. One of the things that has changed is he talked about how we can turn things on and not overplant and not overdo anything like that. Well, what we're actually doing is seeing every single seed that leaves the planter. And in one of those bags is 80,000 seeds. And when it takes a whole box to do a 100-acre field, how many seeds you got after that? You're talking millions of seeds, and we're actually collecting the data on every single seed that we put out there. Is it in the right spot? Is it too close to the one before it? We're talking inches like this, driving 10 miles an hour and making sure it's repetitive every time. So that's the kind of stuff that we're doing with this equipment. Making it perfect, because if you have spacing issues when they grow next to each other, then they steal water, nutrients, and sunlight from each other, and they don't grow as tall, they don't yield very well. So we're utilizing smaller acres, you're getting more profit, more yield out of everything, you're utilizing everything. What she's talking about on the data side is everything we do makes a map. It tells me how much, my planner will tell me how much moisture was in the field on a few rows that I have those sensors as I drove on what day, and how much organic matter there was 2 inches down, what the CEC, the water holding ability of the soil is, the temperature, all that stuff. All that makes a map, and we have iPads in our tractors that we actually just plug right into the display, and we get to zoom in closer and take a closer look at every single seed that we put out there. If you'll see the little speckles, not everything's perfect, but that red one is a skip. That was a missed seed, and the blue one, there was 2 seeds that came out.
Skips and doubles, the bane
So-
of our existence.
And we measure that as a percentage of our singulation, is what we call that, how perfect we are. And every percent off we are is 2.5 bushel loss right off the bat, just a misplaced seed. So we take guys that are running their equipment at like 95%, which adds up in a hurry as quite a few bushels per acre off. And then we get them all the way up to 99.9 or 100 a lot of times. We get them that close to, then that's how we boost, that's the first way we boost yields, pretty much.
And nothing's ever perfect, but this singulation map right here, on this field out here, it's 110 acres, was 99.9%. it's not 100%, but nothing's
It's
ever
pretty much
100%.
impossible. It's pretty much impossible to do 100%. We
Yeah,
get darn
I mean,
close, but
You'll see 100% on the monitor most of the time, and yeah, it was 99.9% singulation. So it was spot on, and I think I was planter speed. I was running at about 8 miles an hour.
which doesn't sound very fast
Until
because
you're
when you're
in a
talking
big
about a
machine.
car.
Right. Yep.
So when you're going really fast through a field and there's rocks sitting some places that pop out of nowhere, 8 miles an hour with a 90-foot rig is pretty fast. Back in the day, only less than 10 years ago, the fastest you could go was probably 5. So it's increased our productivity a lot doing this stuff. So what do we do with those maps, right? Well, for one, if we have singulation problems, we know that we need to improve our equipment, make that better. What's our biggest downfall? Are we not maintaining ground contact? Because if we're not keeping it down in the ground, we're changing our depth of where we're planting. So they all have to be perfectly or set depth-wise, otherwise they'll come up at different times and then they'll once again fight for sunlight and nutrients, and the name of the game is to get everything to go just up like this at the same time. What do we do if we have bad singulation? We talk about changing meters, we talk about fixing stuff like that. All that information is always compiled, and we take years and years of data and we'll do like 5-year averages. We'll take it all the way to harvest and we'll make a map of how harvest went that year, all of our good areas, all of our bad areas. And like her son used to do and still does, we collect all that data and we make maps, we make prescriptions. So when we have a good area, we'll put lots of seeds in that area because it'll grow. When we have like a hillside or a clay top or whatever that doesn't produce well, they're just gonna, more population out there, more seeds per acre is just gonna fight each other. So we bring that down, which brings us back to the automated equipment again. Every row automatically changes your seeding rate as we're going through the field, all based on your GPS location. So it all comes full circle, and as far as like talking internet wise, everything is wireless. We use our data to upload a lot of stuff. When I have monitors in here, all of our newer high-tech displays, I update them over Wi-Fi out here all the time. I don't have to even do anything. I can go right to them, connect them to our network, and I can download the latest update for the displays. We rely heavily on internet out here because we pretty much wouldn't be able to we wouldn't be able to run our business at all without it. So.
Tell us about your internet service.
So right now we use like Radio Link, which is just radio internet waves, and it's okay.
That was a pretty good.
We have internet.
We've had some good times and some bad times, but and we have tried to create a network around our whole yard actually, because we've grown this business so big. We have a lot of things around here, so we've expanded our cameras all throughout the yard. They're all hooked to the internet. They're all connected to each other. Like I can pull it up on phone or iPad or whatever and look at each thing. It's storing the data for a while and stuff like that. So we're repeating signals to different buildings just alone in this yard. So like I said, we rely heavily. All of our billing operation systems, it's all kind of internet reliant.
Our seed business definitely is all internet. We cannot run anything without the seed business internet on that, because everything we do instantly goes back to the company, corporate, so they know exactly how much seed is in my warehouse at all times, and where it is, who actually has the seed now, because we do a delivery ticket and it instantly goes back. It's up to date, instantaneous, and that's how, if we have extra seed and somebody else needs it, they already know within seconds that this dealer has this much extra seed, this one maybe needs some, And it is quite a network that works out fairly good, but you definitely need internet to do that.
And that's not just the state of Minnesota, that is.
That's
the whole-
nationwide.
Nationwide.
That's nationwide, yep.
Where
Because we're
everybody's
working
got
with
internet.
guys in,
Harley.
we're working with guys in Iowa, all over southern Minnesota, Wisconsin. That is a network all the way through. Yes, we have our districts that we try to work with as close as we can, but we still have to reach out sometimes, a little further out to, if we have a disaster of replant and we need, more varieties, more, we gotta sometimes reach out of the area to be able to,
Supply now.
to supply. I mean, they're so good about, getting supply to us, but sometimes us as reps have to go out and do that. So,
And everything we collect data-wise in the field, I can walk over to my computer right now and it's already there. And I can actually remote view, like if he's out there running back and forth, I can just pop it up and I can see him going back and forth and everything that's happening on there. It's fine.
yeah, he can see everything on the computer like I can see on my iPad. He can, remote view, if another grower has some trouble with their planter and can't figure out what's going wrong, if they allow us, they can remote view. We can actually watch their monitor, their iPad, and hopefully diagnose just over the phone to make it work. So,
So that's what we do here. We're pretty busy all the time. In the summertime, we're doing farm things, and I'm usually, quoting and planning for the next build for somebody. In the fall time, that's about the time that we harvest, or we do our most true farming without working
too
as
much
much.
interruption.
Yeah, without as much customer stuff, but.
What happens if you're trying to do all of that, all of which is so important and, increases profits and the effectiveness and environmentally sound? What do you do when a farmer doesn't have internet? Or they're just in a part of the county that doesn't have good connections? I mean, how much does the farmer have to surrender as this isn't possible?